graphing lines, okay? So today we're just going to focus on vertical lines, horizontal lines, and slanted lines that are already in point slope form, okay? So let's title this graphing lines. Okay, so not point slope, slope intercept form. Slope intercept form. We have already learned, a lot of times you may not know the term slope intercept form, but you know what I'm talking about if I say y equals mx plus b. Okay? So write that down. I want you to know that term, slope intercept form. It kind of makes sense because the slope is the m and the y-intercept is the b, right? Slope and intercept is what it gives you. So in slope intercept form, again, m is your slope, and it is the number next to your x. B is your y-intercept. Okay, so let's do a couple examples of this, and then we're going to do a couple more examples of vertical and horizontal lines. So for our first example, we are going to graph. I'm going to use small numbers here because we don't have graph paper. We're going to have to draw them by hand. So y equals 1/2 x minus 1. So draw yourself a little axis coordinate plane here. You don't need a lot of room. It's like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So if I want to graph this, we want to start always from the y-intercept. So Peyton, when I look at this, what is my y-intercept? Nope. -1. So y-intercept is -1. So I'm going to go to -1 on that y-axis and put myself a dot. Then I need the slope. And Vince, what is the slope? 1/2. And so remember, slope is rise over run. Up or down first. The bottom number tells you how much to go left or right. So this top number tells me to go up 1 and to the left, and to the right 2. So it'll be right here. If you keep going like that, you'll end up with a line that looks like this.
If it's just like a whole number as a slope, you just put 1 under it?
Under it, yes. Okay, so that is our line. You okay here? Good with this. We've done it before. Let's do one more example like this. We're going to graph y equals 4 minus 2x. So let's draw ourselves another coordinate plane. You need to go up at least to 4 because your y-intercept. Okay. Zane, what's the y-intercept? It is 4. It is not 2 this time. It's a number by itself, right? So it doesn't matter which order they're in. It's a number by itself. So Zane was correct on that. We had 4. And Presley, what is our slope? -2. Now, like Jada was asking, this is not a fraction, but I need it to be a fraction so I can do rise over run. So what do I do with this -2? Easton? Underneath it. Good. So now this tells me to go down 2 to the right 1, down to, oh, I graphed that wrong. 1, 2, 3, hold on. Hold up. I've graphed that point wrong. Okay. Put that back. Slope is -2 over 1, down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1. And you can see, you need to make sure that line looks like it's decreasing from the left to the right. Whenever you have that negative slope. Okay, questions? Okay, I think we should be pretty good on this. We've done it some before. This is not new. What I'm going to show you now, I've mentioned, but we haven't taken formal notes on it. And it's the easiest and hardest thing in all of Foundations of Math 1. It is vertical and horizontal lines. It should be the easiest, but it's probably more missed than hard questions because we got to have it straight in our minds. So a vertical line their equation is going to be x equals some number. So, for example, let me just do one for us to graph. Example 3. Let's say that we're going to graph x equals 2. Okay? It seems backwards. X equals sounds like it should be horizontal, right? Because the x-axis is horizontal. Here is why that's not the case. All right, so if we draw ourselves an axis here, if I'm graphing x equals 2, it means all of the x coordinates are always 2, right? So all the x coordinates are always 2. It would be like if I had the point 2, 0, and 2, 1, and 2, 2, and 2, -3, right? All the x coordinates are always 2. So if I graph those points, 2, 0 is right here. 2, 1 is here. 2, 2 is here. 2, -3 would be down here. And you can see they all line up on a vertical line. So all the x coordinates are 2. Notice it crosses the x-axis right here. Here's your x-axis. It crosses right here at 2. So when you see x equals a number, that is a vertical line, and it's going to cross the x-axis at whatever that number is. Okay? Horizontal lines are going to, their equation is y equals a number. So an example would look like this. Graph y equals -1. So again, if we draw ourselves an axis here, coordinate plane. So y equals -1 is going to be a horizontal line. The reason it is a horizontal line is because it means all the y coordinates are -1. So like if I had 0, -1, 1, -1, 2, -1, you could have -1, -1. X can be anything, but the y coordinate is always -1. So if you graph those points, 0, -1 would be right here. 1, -1 would be here. 2, -1 would be here. -1, -1 would be here. You can see those lining up there in a horizontal line. It's going to cross the y-axis at -1. Okay, questions? All right, here's where students sometimes start messing up, though. What about if I ask you to graph y equals 2x? What type of line is that? It is a slanted line. It is not vertical nor horizontal here because it has an x and a y. If it has an x and a y, it's going to be a slanted line. Okay? So, what is the y-intercept of that, Wade? It's not going to be 2. 2 is what? What's 2? 2 is the slope because it's next to the x. Okay? It's going to be 0 because there's nothing there. So I could put a +0 here on the end and it wouldn't change anything. So my y-intercept is going to be 0. So if you see one like this where it doesn't have a y-intercept, that y-intercept is 0. So you're going to have a y-intercept at 0. Slope is 2. We'd have to put it over 1, so we'd go up 2 to the right 1. Let me get this graph right here. A lot of students try to graph that as either vertical or horizontal line. But it is not. It's going to be slanted. Okay, questions? All right, so you have 2 IXLs that you're going to do for me today. And so if you go, it's down here at the very bottom. You've got S21. It is going to be vertical and horizontal lines. And you also have S7. That is going to be y equals mx plus b slope-intercept lines that you're going to be graphing for me. So, go ahead and open that up. You need to get to a SMART score of 90. And then once you have done that, I will check you off for that. And you can work either on missing work or that project, but you need to be working on one of those. I do not want to see cell phones out. I do not want to see you playing games on the computer, doing internet shopping, doing any of those things. So you either need to be working on the extra credit or the or any missing work you may have after you finish your IXL. Yes. Those notes that you just took that are you're not ever going to look back at ever again. You might, so let's not throw those away. Okay. Okay. All right. Yes. Yes, I do need to take up your late work and bathroom passes. Thank you for reminding me of that. So, also get out your late work and bathroom passes. And I'm going to come around and take those up. Make sure you've got your name on at least one of them. I'll staple them together so you don't have to put your name on every one of them. But make sure you've got your name on the top one. And I'm going to come around and take those up. All right, so IXL, everybody's going to do that first.